Everyone loves an underdog story, but what most people don't realize is that they just don't inspire. They teach us far more than any classroom ever could. I know this firsthand because I have been an underdog all of my life. I was born in a poor family in New Delhi, India, and was very soon abandoned by my biological family. Me and my brother, we were starving for 4 days in a locked room. And thank God we were put into orphanages where our entire world was open. And for the first time, me and my brother, we both realized that there are people who actually truly care for other human beings. Growing up as a brown girl in a low income family is a curse already. In a family which is so patriarchal that they wouldn't even let you feel alive for once. My brother, who was born with a hole in his heart, he has cerebral palsy, mental disability, and a heart condition. We both were neglected to a level where we were exposed to physical violence on a daily basis. At the age of 14, when child welfare evacuated both of us and put into orphanages, our entire world was changed. For the first time, we met people who truly cared about other human beings. Although there were so many children in the orphanage, and I was exposed to stories that were far worse than ours. Interestingly, in orphanages in India, more kids are abandoned than orphaned. So families do give birth to their children, but don't want to keep them, so they end up abandoning them. Somehow, going into orphanage, I was 14 years old, so I was conscious enough to understand that I never wanted to look back. I wanted to stay with these people and figure out a way how would I make my future comfortable, secure, along with the future of my brother. I always knew the moment I turn 18 and come out of this system, my brother's responsibility will come on to me. Financial, physical, entire responsibility. Thanks to the orphanage where I grew up, people over there did see a girl who was very curious enough to make something out of her life. And because of their connection, I was put into high-end schools in New Delhi, India. And when you are in high-end fancy schools in a capital city like India, you see the dichotomy between how poor somebody was, like I was, and how rich people can be. All of my friends were very comfortable financially, very secure. Their parents truly loved them. So of course I grew up having a little bit of resentment and understanding and the question why I did not get loving parents or financial security the way they got. I would be the one who was so petrified every day thinking about the physical abuse that my father did onto me, the fighting that I saw both of them having on a daily basis was taking a toll on me at that point in time. And don't forget, I had changed 6 to 7 schools by then. But growing up, I knew that I had to make something of my life. I had to become somebody out of nobody. So even in the orphanage, when I was put into high-end school, I wanted to become that girl who was the secretary of my cohort, and she had such fluent English speaking skills, debating skills, which I was enthralled to see. I was mesmerized to see those kids speaking so well, having so much information and having access to so much information because of technology. Internet was a big thing. So I had put myself starting to learn how to speak English, remembering probably 10 to 20,000 words so that I can use them in paragraphs in my day-to-day language. Now, staying in those fancy schools also came with a dream. Of course, I used to ask why I didn't get such parents who would love me, care for me, and why I was not born in a family which was financially privileged. At the end of my school, I saw several students going abroad for their education. And kids who come to the UK, to the US, in Europe, from countries like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, all the third world countries as we call them, they come from privileged backgrounds. Or they take loans, but majority of them come from very comfortable privileged backgrounds. I also want to experience the world that is out there. I just don't want to live in a pond for forever. I wanted to experience Harvard, Stanford, and not because my friends were doing it, but because it changes your entire personality, it changes your horizon, it gives you so many opportunities. And I knew if I wanted to become somebody, that would be the pathway. I knew education was always the pathway, but going abroad, getting a degree abroad, and possibly earning in the country exposed me to opportunities that my mind couldn't even fathom at that point in time. But I knew, unlike those students, I did not have the family background, I did not have the finances, I did not have anything. So, rather than for 3 years, I told myself, why don't I give myself 5 years, complete my undergrad, work in India a little bit, improve my CV, give as many exams as possible, and after 5 years, try for the masters abroad on scholarships. Of course, finding scholarships, talking with universities, giving exams, it was a long term goal. But in 2020, I did get 100% scholarship from one of the best universities in the world, University of St. Andrews. Growing up, I used to watch Harry Potter movies, wondering I am that Harry Potter whose parents are either dead and whose relatives are treating him so badly, and I used to think of my parents being the relatives treating me that badly. That was University of St. Andrews sending me a letter of 100% scholarship. And from then, it's been an incredible journey. I've been in the UK for the last 5 years, and the last 15 years since the day I was put into orphanages, and today, as I'm recording this video, I have 3 lessons that I can share with you. And I feel like this is the time that I can actually start giving value to people, wondering even if it helps one person, it would just make me feel very happy. The very first lesson that I have had to learn in order to become somebody from nobody is the determination. From my very first day in orphanage, I saw people around me who were speaking English. And I forget about being fluent in English. I was not even confident to say a word. I could write because thankfully I was going to the school, so I could write properly. But to speak the way they would speak so confidently without being conscious that somebody else would judge me, and being determined of the fact that it's okay, I don't know English. There are so many things that I don't know. Especially in English, I would sit with a notebook with my mentor mothers every single day, opening with a dictionary, understanding, okay, if this is a word called ameliorate, what does it mean and how I can use it in my day-to-day life. And then I would stand in front of the mirror talking to myself on a random topic. That kind of determination starting from learning a language, and people who come from an English speaking world would probably never understand the challenges that we face in order to learn this language. This language is universal. This language, especially in India, if you don't know English, people would feel like, oh, you are somebody below. You're not good at your job, or you're not good enough. Somehow English language has become a measure to success. And I wanted to achieve that. So I was determined to learn one thing at a time. And there have been several things that I have put my mind to it and have been determined to learn one thing at a time. So that's determination. The second lesson is, probably you would hear resilience several times. But do you even know how to even deal with resilience? Every time I would come back from my high school, that fancy school where I was put into, though there are 2 students, I still remember their names, I won't name them. They would bully me almost every day because of my pronunciation. To government, I would call government. To environment, I would call environment. I would call something else. Come back crying every single day. But what to do? When you are left with no options at all, you can't just give up. Go cry in the corner. I would cry in the bathroom for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, as long as you want to cry. I cried in the bathroom, wiped my own tears, come back up, and if I saw the mentor mother has come to the orphanage, I would sit with her with my notebook. Like, okay, this is the word, I probably pronounced it wrong, and how can I fix it? Did I tell her about the bully that I was facing in school? Of course not. I did not. But the resilience is actually go cry in the corner, come back right up, wipe your tears and go again. Do the same thing again and again and again and again. When you are 17 or 16 years old, it's very easy to give up. It's very easy to give up. It's very easy to just say, oh, please put me to a different school, which was far easier. But no, let me be in the same school. Let me be miserable. I was harsh on myself, yes. But sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And look at me how I'm speaking now. Tell me one person who can correct me. And to be really honest, when you come abroad, nobody corrects on your English. Even English people don't speak that good English. There's so many people in Europe who do not even like English language. So this entire hoo-ha of English language in India is just bonkers to me. So resilience, coming back right up. And the third and the most important lesson is grit. Grit is the mixture of passion and resilience mixed together for a long-term goal. If you are in a toxic family, you are about 14, 15 years old, you know that you are living in a toxic family, and somehow back as when I was a child, I knew that there was something wrong within my family. They asked me to keep quiet. My father would come beat my mother on a daily basis. The moment he would enter, he had this face of aggression and anger, and he would enter the house blabbering something. And if he would find something misplaced or some showpiece kept in a different way, he would just pick it up and throw it at her. And then he would rush to her, take anything that is coming into his hand and start beating her with it, either pot or a pan, anything from the kitchen, and start beating her. And I would be like, what the fuck has just happened? When children are exposed to stuff like that on a daily basis, and on the other hand, you are seeing something else on the television, or you are seeing something else when you're going to the school, you're not seeing other kids coming with bruises. Your entire world becomes a bit contradictory. And at that point in time, when I was a child, I knew there was something wrong happening in my house. This was not right. So when you know that you are in a toxic environment, in a toxic family, from my lesson, I would highly encourage you to have a goal. What do you want? It could be as simple as you getting out of it. Fine, you get out of the environment, you turn 18, you come out of your toxic family. What are you going to do after that? What do you want to become? If you want to become something, how are you going to do it? So what and how? Creating long-term goals and having a passion for those long-term goals. I had a passion to make my life better, to make my brother's life better. I didn't want to live in that poverty. I didn't want to live and face what I had faced in my childhood. And God, the moment you achieve your long-term goal, I know it took me actually 10 years. I was put into orphanage when I was 14 and a half years old, and I got the scholarship. I came to the UK when I was 24. So it's been exactly 10 years since my first day in St. Andrews. So having those long-term goals and passion for it, showing up every single day without failure. There were GRE, GMAT exams, SAT exams, you count. And I prepared for them. I prepared for them even though I knew that I had very less opportunities or zero opportunities. Resilience mixed with passion, grit. Resilience, coming back right up, wipe your own tears. Nobody's gonna wipe your tears. Wipe your own tears. And determination. You are determined to make your life better. These are the 3 basic lessons that I have learned so far in my journey. And even if one person can comment down below and says that this has really helped them, that would just make my day. Thank you so much, you beautiful humans, for watching, and I will see you in the next video for sure.